This video today will have a live view of the mixer, the app for the mixer that I'm using. It's the Mackie Master Fader 5 app, and I'm using it with my Mackie DL32S mixer. I'm only using one channel on the mixer for the demos and stuff that I will do today. I am going to do my darndest to describe what we are seeing and what we are doing, but there might be, in fact, there will almost certainly be some benefit to watching the video. The video is always published at giggabpodcast.com. Of course, it is on YouTube, and we also put it up on Spotify, so you can watch the videos directly in the Spotify app. Many of you, if you listen on Spotify, you probably already know that the videos are there on Spotify. So without further ado, let's get into this. So the idea is you're getting to a gig and you want to get stuff set up as quickly as possible. The best thing you can do is to do some setup at home first. But there's sort of a general flow that I follow when I get to a gig and need to set up everything. And of course, this would be the same flow that I would follow doing it at home ahead of time. And that's one of the beauties of digital mixers is I get to do it. We all get to do it ahead of time and save this and then recall it not just for one gig, but for every gig. And that part's really nice. But the first thing I do is I get each channel set up. And where that begins is with the gain, right? I think of this, I know these are digital mixers and top and bottom is only relative in the app, but I do think about it like an analog mixer. And I think about the top of the chain, where the sound comes in, and the bottom of the chain as to where the sound goes out, either to the speakers or to the main mix or the aux mixes, and then from there. So the main mix would be what goes out to your speakers that the audience hears. The aux mixes are generally going to be used for monitors, either wedges or in-ears, but the channels that come in are the same for both. Of course, you could do it different for both if you really wanted, but most of us, we have a microphone on stage that maps to one channel and one channel only. And so the gain structure and the whole signal path is the same for most of the channel. And then you decide how much of that channel you want in a main or in a monitor. So we start with the channel. Doesn't matter where it's going to go because we got to start with it. So the first thing I look at is the gain for the channel, because this is where the signal starts from. And the idea is I like on this particular mixer, I like to get a channel so that when I have the gain set correctly, it will hit about the unity part, the unity being 0 or where U is on the mixer, and not be peaking. Certainly at the top, most digital mixers, this one has about 10 decibels worth of headroom sort of above unity before it peaks out. And so I just start talking into the channel or having someone talk into the channel, or if it's a guitar or a drum or whatever, playing the instrument. And I try to tell them, play it as loud as you possibly will during the gig so that we can find the top end. And I just start moving the gain up and down until, first of all, I get it to stop peaking and have enough signal, because you're going to be amplifying this. Whatever it is you have in there, you're going to be amplifying. And so you want more signal than not, because the part that is not signal is, at least potentially, noise. So I try to get this on this Mackie mixer. I've found that I can really get things nice and smooth and have a lot of control down the chain for if I'm right about at the cusp of where it just goes above unity to maybe 1 to 3 dB above it. Not every mixer is going to be the same in this regard. You kind of need to experiment and listen, use your ears. In addition to your eyes, I think both your ears and your eyes are important when setting up a mixer. So use your ears and your eyes as you're setting gains. And if you're watching the video, you're seeing me talking into 2 microphones. One, of course, is the one that goes to the podcast audio. And number 2 is the one that's plugged into this mixer. So once you've got the gain set, of course, I say the gain's the first thing. really, the very first thing is plug it in, because otherwise you have what we call a high impedance air gap, meaning that, without the cable plugged in, it's really hard for the mixer to get the signal from the microphone or the instrument. And then the second thing would be whether or not you need 48 volts of phantom power for that particular input. A lot of condenser microphones, a couple dynamic microphones need it. Some other things need it. Some, you'll know. It'll say so on the device or in the manual for it. Or if you plug it in, you don't get signal, that's a good chance that it needs 48 volts of phantom power. I always hesitate to say, turn it on and try, because there are some devices, fewer and fewer as time marches on, where that 48 volts would damage them. The mic that I have here will not be damaged when I add phantom power, even though it doesn't need it. It's a Heil PR37.